Welcome back to another upcoming banners rolling guide. This time, we've got some exciting and unique operators, including a limited banner coming up soon. As always, I will briefly go over these operators kits and give you a conclusion to help you manage your pulls. The first banner here is the Rides to Lake Silberneherze Rerun banner. The 6-star is Degenerature. She is a Swordmaster guard with insane burst damage that can even hit aerial enemies. Unlike other operators in her archetype, her third skill has auto SP recovery, which means she doesn't rely on attacking enemies to charge it, and it has a low SP cost of 30, making this amazing skill spammable. The 5 stars are Grain Buds and Lido. Grain Buds is a decent Decel Binder supporter. She can put 3 enemies to sleep for 5 seconds. Afterwards, she increases her attack speed to apply her slow faster, and can attack 3 enemies. Lido, on the other hand, is a very underwhelming Lord Guard. She can't compete with others in her archetype, and her kit feels awkward and not very practical. Overall, this banner is good, mainly because of Degenerature. She is one of the best operators in the game, and can help you clear most content easily. But the banner after this one is a limited one, with great operators to pull and spark for, so you have to think carefully before going all in on this banner. The next banner is the Such is the Joy of Our Reunion event banner. The 6 stars are Blaze the Igniting Spark, and You, with You being the limited one. The other limited 6 stars with lower pull rates are Changyu, Ling, and Shu. All of them are great, with Ling and Shu being one of the best operators in the game. Blaze the Igniting Spark is a primal caster, which means she can deal elemental damage, specifically burn damage, thanks to her first talent that also deals 350% attack elemental damage when an enemy on the battlefield triggers a burn damage burst, and recovers 12% of her max HP, giving her more consistent damage and survivability. Speaking about survivability, her second talent is one of the best in the game. When defeated, she doesn't retreat and gain a big barrier. She can't attack or be healed, and recovers 3% of max HP per second. When HP is full, she revives and then stuns nearby enemies for 5 seconds. This talent saves her from the long redeployment time when defeated, plus she will still be charging her skill in this state. Her first skill targets the operator with the highest max HP within attack range, dealing 70% attack as arts damage, and 30% of arts damage is burn damage to all enemies around them every second, lasting 20 seconds. It's good for lane holding, either for general or hard content, as it pairs great with well-rounded operators that can sustain themselves like Reaper Guards, Juggernaut, and Guardian Defenders. Her second skill changes her range. Attack interval increases, attack plus 150%, and attacks 3 targets simultaneously. She loses 5% HP when attacking and leaves a burning area at the target's location. Enemies within have minus 50% movement speed. Take 35% of her attack as arts damage, and 30% of arts damage as burn damage per second. It's a great counter to enemies who are hard to defeat using physical and arts damage, but outside of that, the damage is still high enough to be a substitute for AoE casters. The burn area allows her to consistently deal burn damage, triggering her first talent more often, dealing more damage, and healing her to counter the HP loss demerit in this skill. Her third skill changes her range, attack plus 115%, and greatly shortens her attack intervals. Attacks become AoE if the target is under the effect of burn damage burst. Additionally, deal 80% of her attack as elemental damage. Blaze loses 3% of her max HP per second. Skill activation grants 25 ammo. Obtains 2 ammo when an enemy triggers a burn damage burst, and the skill ends when all ammo is used. This skill has an insane burst damage, but it doesn't deal elemental damage, thus it can't benefit from all the extra effects on this skill and her first talent, making the damage very underwhelming. This is why it is necessary to pair her with an operator that can help her inflict burn elemental damage, mainly speaking about You, who is in the same banner as her. When she was released, some players didn't like the fact that she needed another operator to be at full power, let alone that the operator we are talking about is a limited operator, and the same one in her banner, which for some felt like a pressure to pull both. But on the other hand, this is how primal casters were designed in the first place, to be dependent on other operators, to deal a ridiculous amount of damage. So let me know what you think about this in the comments. Another great thing about this skill is the ammo recovery, as it can be broken if there are a lot of enemies triggering burn damage burst, making this skill last way longer than just the initial 25 ammo. The next operator is the newest Sui sibling and the limited operator in this banner. Yu is a primal protector, which means he can block 3 enemies and can inflict elemental injury, specifically burn. His first talent gives him 15% damage reduction when blocking an enemy, and the blocked enemy takes 25% of Yu's attack as arts damage and 8% as burn damage per second. A passive 15% damage reduction is a good effect to have, since his defense and max HP are lower than most defenders, so it ensures that he can work properly as a tank. The arts damage helps chip out enemies, and the burn damage works as a great support for primal casters when his skill is on cooldown. His second talent recovers 1.5% of his max HP as HP, and elemental injury recovery per second, when the number of operators on the field is no less than 4. It makes him less reliant on healers, which can be especially useful in hard content where every operator spot matters, or when your squad size is limited, like in integrated strategies and contingency contract. And the requirement is easy to fulfill since you have more than 4 operators most of the time, you included. His first skill has a passive effect that makes him more likely to be targeted by enemy attacks. When the skill is active, it increases max HP and defense by plus 70%. Each time Yu is attacked, deal 50% of his attack as burn damage to the attacker. The taunt helps charge it since it's a defensive recovery skill, and it can also be useful to protect your ranged operators. The increased max HP and defense are really needed to tank strong hits and retaliate with burn damage. But unless you need the taunt, this skill falls short when compared with his second and third skill. His second skill deals 100% of his attack as arts damage to all nearby enemies, teleports reachable ground enemies to Yu's position, block plus 2, max HP plus 160%, attack plus 290%, normal attacks now deal arts damage. The teleportation is far superior to pulling since it doesn't care about the enemy weight, making it reliable and consistent, and it is a strong ability to be able to disturb enemies' path to teleport them to Yu's position, especially for dangerous elites and bosses. He can now block 5 enemies, which triggers his talent to deal burn damage, and the highly increased attack makes it easier to proc, making this skill a great choice to deal with enemies with high defensive stats. His max HP increases, but you have to be careful when using this skill against hard-hitting enemies. Even for a 6-star defender, 5 elite enemies are a lot. His third skill increases his max HP, attack, and defense by plus 110%, and applies the effect of his second talent, the HP and elemental injury recovery, to all operators on the field. Creates a firewall across the entire battlefield. Other allied units deal 10% of Yu's attack as burn damage when attacking through the firewall, and enemy projectiles have a 20% chance to be removed when passing through the firewall. When paired with the right operators, it can be one of the best skills in the game. For starters, Golden Glow and Lapland Altar will be able to deal burn damage globally and effectively thanks to their archetype's fast attack speed. Blaze Altar can truly benefit from her third skill, and it even works great with other casters. The 5-star in this banner is Surfer. She is an Agent Vanguard, which means she has reduced redeployment time and can use ranged attacks. Her talent gives 2 DP if deployed where there are no other operators in the adjacent 4 tiles. This talent alone sets her apart from others in her archetype, as she basically costs 2 less DP, which is amazing for any Vanguard, especially one with fast redeployment. Her first skill is a passive, after deployment, attack plus 100%, and obtains 1 DP in each attack. It's a basic skill. The attack buff helps her clear enemies better, but it lacks an attack speed buff for better DP generation. Her second skill increases her attack speed by plus 60, obtains 1 DP in each attack, and steals 55 defense from the target. Increasing her defense instead of attack isn't favorable for an Agent Vanguard as they work better offensively, but stealing also means she reduces the enemy defense, which also helps her and her allies deal more damage, while still being tankier than other Agent Vanguards. The increased attack speed also helps her steal defense and generate DP faster. Her module gives her a new trait of becoming less likely to be targeted by enemies, and improves her talent to give her plus 15 attack speed for 10 seconds. In conclusion, this is a great banner to pull, despite some players not liking Yu for being a defender, or not liking his burn damage, as they see it only necessary for enemies with high arts resistance, which is something I disagree with. Burn damage pairs well with arts damage, and it is a big deal for new players who don't have a lot of arts damage dealers, as burn damage can help them defeat bosses more easily. And even outside of damage, Yu is pretty good at being a defender thanks to his HP recovery and damage reduction. And don't forget the buffs from his siblings when paired together with them. As for Blaze the Igniting Spark, she needs use support to be at full power, which is a big downside. Luckily, they are on the same banner. As for the limited 6 stars with lower pull rates, they are Changyu, Ling, and Shu. Luckily all of them are strong, so it won't be bad to get any of them. The only one that I think worth sparking is Shu, as she is an amazing healer with some utility. Ling can solo most stages, but I don't recommend sparking her as she takes most deployment slots, which means you will be taking the place of other strong operators to make place for her dragons. She isn't weak by any means. If you like her playstyle, she is worth sparking. Changyu is a strong damage dealer, but he doesn't offer anything that non-limited 6 stars can't do. The next banner is the Joint Operation 18 banner. In Joint Operator banners, it is guaranteed that the 6-star operators you pull are only the featured ones, so if you have 2 or more of the featured operators, it's not recommended to pull this banner. And keep in mind that most likely 1 or 2 of these operators will be changed for the end server release. The 6 stars are Seilich, Ines, Kaltsit, and Zuola. Seilich recently got a new module in the CN server, which gives 2 DP if the next operator you deploy after her is melee. This helps her be more competitive with lower rarity flag bearers, but she is still an unnecessary operator to get and build in most cases. Ines is the best vanguard thanks to her incredible utility. Her attacks bind. She leaves a shadow sentry that slows and reveals invisible enemies, and what makes these effects better is her fast redeployment that allows her to apply them across the map. And on top of all of that, she has an insanely fast DP generation. Kaltsit is excellent, especially if you are a new player with only a few 6-star operators. She can double as a lane holder with AoE attacks from her second skill, and a boss killer with true damage from her third skill. Zuola can both lane hold against elite enemies and stall bosses with his second skill, while his third skill is great for boss killing. He is one of those operators who are rarely used in general content but shine best in harder stages when facing tough enemies. The 5 stars are Aurora, Midam, Corozrum, Proviso, Figurino, and Santella. Only Proviso and Figurino are decent, but it's not worth it to do the first 10 pulls for the guaranteed 5-star, since the chance of getting one of these 2 is low. Overall, Ines, Kaltsit, and Zuola are worth getting and building, so if you don't have any of them, it is worth pulling. But if you have 1 or 2, it is better not to pull. But we'll have to wait and see, since we won't get this exact banner in the end server. The next banner is the See You Soon event banner. The 6-star in this banner is Entelechia. She is a Reaper Guard, which means she can't be normally healed by allies. Attacks deal AoE damage, recovers 50 HP for every enemy hit during attacks, up to block count. Her first talent steals 75 max HP when attacking and causes the target to take 200 arts damage per second for 5 seconds. When fully stacked, this talent increases her max HP by more than 50%, giving her great survivability, especially given how good her skills are at healing her. And arts damage over time helps her clear high defense enemies much easier. Her second talent restores 50% max HP once when HP falls below 25%. And reduces physical damage taken by 10%. This talent comes very handy when facing hard-hitting enemies, and it can be a safety net when her skill isn't up, as her healing is not very reliable outside her skills. This talent gets improved by her module, increasing the max HP restored from 50% max HP to 85% max HP, and doubles the damage reduction from 10% to 20% at level 3. The module also improves her trait healing from 50 HP to 60 HP. When her second skill is active, she stops attacking and summons Bloody Scythes to cut all nearby enemies around herself and 1 additional ground unit, dealing 195% attack as physical damage every 0.5 seconds. This skill prioritizes the last deployed ally and can target allies from anywhere on the map, so it works great with fast redeploys like Executor Specialists and Agent Vanguards, providing damage around the map when her skill is up, and it's quite spammable with only 20 SP at M3. The damage from the scythe summoned on an ally is treated as damage dealt by Entelechia herself, which means she gets healed by her trait twice every 0.5 seconds. Her third skill expands her attack range, attack plus 135%, attack speed plus 100, and immediately summons heart candles on up to 3 ground enemies with the highest HP within attack range. Each attack deals at least 35% attack to the heart candle. The heart candle has 60% of the original enemy's current HP. And the original enemy loses an equal amount of HP when attacked. Heart candles can only be damaged by Entelechia's attacks. The damage dealt reflected from the candles to the enemies is treated as an unsourced damage, which means it will ignore dodge, shields, barriers, and resist. And at least 35% of attack is dealt as damage, ensuring she can deal some damage no matter how high the enemy defense is. The summoned candle stays in her skill range, so even if the enemy is roaming outside her range, she will still be dealing some damage and healing. Speaking about healing, the highly increased attack speed and having the candles as extra targets greatly improves her healing. She is a solid lane holder who can easily defeat elite enemies, and sometimes some bosses, thanks to her great survivability. If you need a solo lane holder, she is a good operator to pull. But outside of that, she doesn't offer much utility outside of her second skill's global attack. The 5 stars are Noel and Warmy. Noel is a therapist medic, which means he has a large healing range and can heal negative status like cold, freeze, stun, and fear with his skill. His talent makes his heals stronger when healing an ally with a negative status. His second skill applies a buff effect on 3 allied operators within attack range, causing them to restore HP equal to 45% of Noel's attack per second and gain status resistance for 12 seconds. This is not a regenerative heal, despite what the skill description might suggest, but it can give the status resistance to an enmity operator. His healing is good, but it's better to build Lumen instead, since he is free and better overall. Warmy is a primal caster who works with burn damage specifically. She deals high damage, but she needs to be paired with an ally who can inflict burn damage similar to Blaze the Igniting Spark. Overall, it is a solid banner if you need a strong solo lane holder, but otherwise it's better to save your pulls. That's it for this video. The next banner will feature the first 6-star Shaper caster Necras. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.